My name is Emma Parker, and I was 24 years old the morning my family arrived with a realtor to sell the farm they believed my grandfather had left behind. They came dressed like people attending a closing. Mother stepped out first, holding a leather folder under her arm, like it already contained my future. Father followed with his hands in his pockets, wearing that familiar quiet look he always used when he wanted peace more than truth. And my sister came last, sunglasses on, smiling like the whole place had already been measured, priced, and handed to her. None of them knew the farm had belonged to me for almost 4 years. They had driven 3 hours to claim something that was never theirs. They thought they were coming to divide an inheritance. They thought I was just the girl who had stayed behind, cleaned stalls, fixed fences, and taken care of an old man nobody else had time for. They thought I was useful. They thought I was temporary. They were wrong. But this story did not begin with deeds, lawyers, or locked gates. It began 11 years earlier, on my 25th birthday, when I finally learned that being called the strong one was never a compliment. It was permission. Permission to ignore me. Permission to cancel on me. Permission to take my chair at the table and give it to someone who cried louder. In my family, my sister was the one everyone protected. If she cried, the house stopped. If she failed, someone softened the story. If she needed money, everyone found a way. But if I needed something, Mother would give me that gentle smile and say, "You'll be fine, Emma. You're stronger than she is." I heard that sentence my whole life. I heard it when my parents missed most of my graduation because my sister had a hard morning. I heard it when I bought my first used car with money from double shifts, and Father only said my sister needed help more than I needed praise. I heard it when my sister broke things, lost jobs, borrowed money, ruined plans, and somehow everyone looked at me to fix the damage. I was useful, reliable, easy to postpone. That year, for my birthday, I planned one small dinner, nothing expensive, nothing dramatic. Just a table for 4 at a local restaurant, a cake I paid for myself, and one quiet hope that maybe, for one night, my family would choose me without being begged. I told them 3 weeks ahead. Mother said, "Of course, sweetheart." Father nodded. My sister smiled and said, "I'll try." I should have known that try meant no. On the morning of my birthday, I woke up early and cleaned my tiny apartment like guests were coming there instead of the restaurant. I ironed a dress I had bought from a clearance rack. I curled my hair twice because the first time didn't look special enough. I even set the little birthday card my grandfather had mailed me on the kitchen counter because it was the only one that had arrived. At noon, Mother called. Her voice was soft, careful, already rehearsed. "Emma, honey, we can't make dinner tonight." I closed my eyes. "What happened?" There was a pause. "Your sister is overwhelmed. She needs us tonight." I stood in the kitchen holding the phone, staring at the dress hanging on the bedroom door. For a few seconds I said nothing. Then I asked the question I had swallowed for 25 years. Why is it always her? Mother sighed like I was making the day harder than it already was. "Because you can handle disappointment," she said. "She can't." That sentence did not break my heart. My heart had been breaking in small pieces for years. That sentence simply finished the job. I canceled the reservation. I let the restaurant keep the deposit. Then I pulled my old duffel bag from the closet and packed slowly. 2 pairs of jeans, work boots, a sweatshirt, a little cash box, and the birthday card from my grandfather. I did not leave a note. People who never looked for me did not need directions. By 4 that afternoon, I was driving east with half a tank of gas, my whole life in the back seat, and Mother's words still ringing in my ears. "You can handle disappointment." Maybe I could, but I was done volunteering for it. My grandfather lived 3 hours away on an old farm outside a town most people only passed through. Mother called the place useless. Father called it too much work. My sister called it creepy, but to me, it had always felt like breathing room. I called him from a gas station when the sky was already turning purple. "Grandfather," I said, trying to sound normal, "can I come stay for a while?" He did not ask why. He did not ask what happened. He just said, "Door's open, coffee's on." That was the first kindness of my new life. I arrived after midnight. The porch light was on. My grandfather was sitting outside in an old coat with 2 mugs beside him, like he had known the exact minute I would arrive. He looked at my swollen eyes, my packed car, my birthday dress folded across the back seat, and he said only 2 words, "Bad birthday?" And for the first time that day, I cried. Not loudly, not beautifully, just tired. The kind of crying that comes when someone finally sees the wound without asking you to prove it. The next morning, he showed me the farm in daylight. It was worse than I remembered. The barn roof leaked in 3 places. The fences leaned like tired men. The fields were rough, patchy, and neglected. The house needed paint. There were only a few animals left, most of them old, stubborn, and half-retired. But my grandfather looked at that land like it was still alive. "You need somewhere to stand," he said, "and this place needs hands." So I stayed. At first, I told myself it would only be a few weeks. Then I learned how to repair fence lines. Then I learned how to drive the tractor. Then I learned how to calm animals that expected pain before kindness. The first winter nearly broke me. The pipes froze twice. The tractor refused to start on the coldest morning of the year. One night, a storm tore half the old barn door loose, and I stood outside in the dark with a flashlight between my teeth, trying to hold the wood in place while the wind slapped rain into my face. I remember thinking, this is still better than begging people to love me. That thought kept me standing. Weeks became months. Months became a year. My hands blistered, my back ached. I fell asleep at the kitchen table more times than I can count. But every day something changed. A gate stood straight, a stall got cleaned, a field came back. And for the first time in my life, effort gave me something back. No one stole the credit. No one redirected the praise. No one told me to be smaller so someone else could feel bigger. The farm was honest. If I worked, it showed. If I neglected something, it showed too. That honesty saved me. My family did not come looking for me, not really. Mother called once after 6 months, not to ask if I was safe, not to ask where I slept, not to ask if my birthday still hurt. She asked whether I could send money, because my sister had another emergency. I remember standing in the barn aisle with dirt on my jeans and hay in my hair, waiting for the old guilt to pull me back. It did not. I said, "No." There was silence. Then Mother said, "You've changed." I looked out at the field I had spent all morning clearing. "I hope so," I said. After that, the calls became rare, and something strange happened in the quiet. I started hearing myself, not the version of me my family had built, not the strong one, not the dependable one, not the invisible one. Me. The woman who liked sunrise better than late nights. The woman who could fix a gate, balance a ledger, calm a frightened horse, and still cry when kindness landed too gently. The woman who was no longer waiting for a family group chat to remember she existed. Years passed. The farm grew. One boarder brought a horse, then another. Then a neighbor asked if I could help with training. Then people started recommending me. I built the business slowly, one repaired stall and one trusted animal at a time. I did not become successful overnight. That is not how real lives change. Real change is uglier. It is waking up sore and doing chores anyway. It is choosing a roof repair over new clothes. It is saying no to people who only call when they need something. It is putting money back into the place that gave you shelter before you ever call it yours. My grandfather watched all of it from his old chair by the barn. Some days, he said nothing for hours. Some days, he would sip coffee and say, "You run this place better than I ever did." I pretended those words did not matter. They did. They mattered more than any compliment my parents had ever given me. Then one evening, after a long day, he called me into the kitchen. There was a folder on the table. Inside was a deed. The farm, the house, the land, the barns, all legally transferred into my name. I stared at the papers until the words blurred. He said, "I signed it over last month." "Why?" I whispered. "Because you didn't come here to take anything," he said. "You came here and gave this place life." I told him it was too much. He shook his head. "No, too much is giving your whole life to people who still don't see you." I cried again that night, not because I had land, because for once, someone had chosen me in a way no one could cancel. He made me promise not to tell Mother. "Let people show you who they are," he said, "especially when they think there's money involved." I did not understand how right he was until his health started failing. It happened slowly at first, then all at once. He got weaker. The walks became shorter. His chair moved closer to the window. And suddenly, Mother remembered she had a father. She called with concern in her voice, but questions underneath it. How much land was there now? Was the business profitable? Had Grandfather updated his will? Would it be better to sell after he passed? I answered almost nothing. She did not like that. My sister started calling too. She said she missed him. Then she asked if he could help her financially. Then she suggested it would be fair if everyone received something. Everyone. Meaning her. Meaning Mother. Meaning Father. Not me. Never me. My grandfather heard enough to understand. One afternoon, after Mother had called 3 times in one day, he looked at me from his chair and said, "They're not coming for me." I sat beside him. "I know." "They're coming for the farm." I held his hand. He squeezed my fingers. "Then let them come when the time comes. Let them speak in front of witnesses." He passed away on a quiet morning, with the window open and the animals calling from the field. I will not make that part dramatic. Grief does not always roar. Sometimes it just sits beside you and changes the shape of every room. We buried him on a clear Saturday. Neighbors came, clients came. People I had never met told me stories about how he had helped them, fed them, loaned them tools, pulled trucks out of ditches, fixed fences without asking for payment. Mother cried at the service. My sister cried louder. Father stood silently, as usual. At the reception, Mother found me near the coffee table. She touched my arm like we were close. "We should talk about the farm soon," she said, "as a family." There it was, not even one full day of grief before business arrived. I looked at her and said, "Come next Saturday. Bring whoever you need." She smiled. She thought I was agreeing. That week she called twice. She told me she had spoken to a realtor. She told me the land was worth more than expected. She told me the sale would help everyone start fresh. Then she said, "Don't worry, Emma. We'll make sure you're taken care of." Taken care of. After 11 years of work, after rebuilding the barns, after creating the business, after caring for the man she barely visited, she was planning to sell my home and present it as kindness. I did not argue. I simply said, "I'll see you Saturday." Then I called the attorney. I asked him to bring the recorded deed. I invited a few neighbors and clients for a small lunch in my grandfather's memory, not as a trap, as protection. The truth needs witnesses when liars are practiced. Saturday came bright and cold. Mother arrived first, stepping out of the car with her folder. Father followed. My sister came last, wearing sunglasses and carrying nothing. The realtor was with them. Mother looked around the farm like she was already spending the money. She noticed the repaired barn, the full stalls, the new fencing, the sign at the entrance with my business name on it, and still, somehow, she did not understand. After lunch, Mother stood on the porch and tapped a spoon against a glass. Everyone turned. She smiled at the small crowd. "Thank you all for loving my father," she began. "This farm meant a lot to him. Our family has decided the best way to honor his memory is to sell it to someone who can manage it properly." The realtor opened her folder. My sister smiled. Father looked at the ground. Mother continued. "Of course, Emma has helped here, and we'll make sure she has time to transition." Transition. From my own home, my own land, my own life. I let her finish. Then I stepped forward. "Mother," I said calmly, "the farm is not yours to sell." Her smile tightened. "This is not the time for emotion." "It's not emotion," I said. "It's paperwork." The attorney stepped beside me. He introduced himself. Then he opened his folder and held up the certified deed. He explained that my grandfather had legally transferred the farm to me years earlier. The land, the house, the barns, the business property, everything. Free and clear. There was nothing in the estate to sell. Nothing to divide. Nothing to discuss. The silence after that was almost peaceful. The realtor slowly closed her folder. My sister removed her sunglasses. Father finally looked at me. Mother's face changed completely. For the first time in my life, she did not look in control. "That's impossible," she said. The attorney shook his head. "It is recorded with the county. There is no question of ownership." Mother turned on me. "You manipulated him." I did not move. My sister started crying, saying she felt sick, saying this was unfair, saying I had stolen from the family. But nobody rushed to comfort her. Nobody canceled the truth for her emergency. For the first time, her tears did not control the room. Father whispered my name. For 1 second, I thought he might finally say something brave. Instead, he looked at Mother and stepped back beside her. That was the last answer I needed from him. Mother threatened lawyers. The attorney told her she had every right to waste her money. Then I spoke. "You told me my whole life that I was the strong one," I said. "You used that as a reason to leave me out, cancel on me, and expect me to understand. But grandfather understood something you never did. Strong people still deserve love. Strong people still deserve fairness. Strong people still deserve a home." Mother opened her mouth. I raised one hand. "No, I'm done listening." The porch went quiet. "You came here to sell the only place that ever wanted me. You came here with a realtor before you came with an apology. That tells me everything." My sister cried harder. Mother looked furious. Father looked ashamed. I pointed toward the driveway. "The gate is that way." No shouting, no drama. Just a sentence I had waited 11 years to say. They left angry. The realtor apologized quietly before getting into her car. Mother slammed her door. My sister was already on her phone before they reached the road. Father never looked back. I stood by the gate until their car disappeared. Then I closed it. The sound of that latch was the cleanest sound I had ever heard. That was over a year ago. Mother sent one legal letter. The attorney answered it. Nothing came after. My sister called once to ask for money. I said no. Not cruelly, not angrily, just no. And for the first time, no felt easy. The farm is still mine. The business is full. The barn roof is new. The fields are alive. Some mornings I still reach for my grandfather's old work gloves hanging by the door. They used to be too big for me. Now they fit. Maybe they changed. Maybe I did. Maybe that is what healing really is. You grow into the life you were once afraid to claim. Here is what I know now. Blood makes people related. Showing up makes them family. And the day I stopped begging the wrong people to choose me was the day I finally had room for the right people to stay. That is my story. One canceled birthday, 11 years of work, one farm they thought they could sell. and one gate I finally closed on my own terms.